This is Londonderry, a once peaceful city in Northern Ireland. The Roman Catholic neighborhoods of the Bogside and Creggan are about the size of an average southwestern American town, and for a year they held off one of the world's toughest armies. It all started back in the 1920s, when England granted home rule to all of Ireland except Ulster. There, the majority of folks were Protestants, and they quietly developed a political system that made niggers out of the Catholic minority. Adequate housing, employment, and the votes were almost forgotten in places like the Bogside. But the 1960s brought some changes. At just about the same time that Martin Luther King was gunned down, a Catholic civil rights movement met with violence from Protestant extremists. The Troubles triggered a split in the illegal Irish Republican Army. The Provisional wing was traditional. The approach, bombs and terrorism. The goal, a united Ireland. The official wing was Marxist. The method, guns and politics. The aim, a socialist state. In August 1971, the government sought to crush militant Catholics by imprisoning without trial suspected IRA members. The people of the Bogside and Creggan responded by barricading streets and closing their community. Official IRA man Peter Collins was interned that August. He spent his 24th birthday in jail. Shortly after Peter was imprisoned, Tommy McCourt signed on with the officials. At 23, he's wanted for murder. And then there's Catherine and Phyllis Devlin, two spinsters from the Creggan who work in a nearby shirt factory. They're all characters in a confrontation with the outside world. That showdown started on a cold and windy Sunday in January 1972.
The organizers of this civil rights march promised that they would be non-violent. The army have said throughout the day that they hope to use minimum force, but 3 hours after the procession began, this has ended up as the worst ever confrontation between the army and the Catholic people of the Creggan and Bogside.
Do not fire back for the moment, unless you identify a positive target.
How many dead have you seen in the Bogside?
Appearing to be dead, there are the 3 in that Saracen car. There are 2 men lying at the end of this block of flats. There's another man at least very close to being dead. There are 2 others up there. I'm told that there are some more in these flats here that I haven't seen yet. I would say there are probably about 4 dead at this moment. I don't know what those are doing, whether they're alive or dead.
Colonel, once the paratroopers went into the Bogside, there seemed to have been a very large number of casualties.
Well, I suppose large, 5 is quite large in these circumstances. It's unfortunate. But when we got up there, past William Street here where we're standing, and up towards Rossville Flats, we came under fire. We came under fire from the bottom of the flats, from the flats. We were also petrol bombed, and some acid, in fact, was poured on us from the top of the flats.
Local people are saying that you used excessive force when you went in there.
Well, what is force? If you're being fired at, you return fire, and they know that perfectly well.
How many gunmen do you feel you've hit in the Bogside?
Well, I'm told from my Quickset trip that 3 gunmen were hit.
You have no worries about this action?
None at all.
But when darkness finally ended that bloody Sunday, 13 people were dead. And the barricades, well, they had more meaning.
I was born in the Bogside. Lived here all my life. I reckon I had a happy childhood. Knew everybody in the bog. Every door was open. Just like a big commune, you know.
I've seen a weary miner scrub coal dust from his bike, and I've heard the miner's children cry for coal to heat the shack. Yet those banks are made of marble, with the guard on every door, and the vaults are filled with silver that the workers sweated for.
This place in here reminds me of people that died in the struggle that's going on, you know. First time I ever saw anybody getting shot was Seamus Cusick. There was a bit of a riot on, you know. It wasn't much. It was just before people had really turned against the soldiers. There was the young fellas, the odd hooligans as they were called at the time. All of a sudden, out of the blue, this soldier stepped out in the middle of a small riot, and bang, Seamus Cusack fell. He was hitting a thigh somewhere, you know. And I remember watching the thing, you know, and I lost a fucking head. And I run at them, shouting and roaring, calling them murdering bastards and all this bit. And, you know, I was stunned, like, because it had never happened in Derry. It had happened in Belfast, and we had heard about it, but we had never actually seen it. And everybody was stunned, and went around Derry like wildfire. Everybody was talking about it. The next day, there was all these demonstrations. People stayed off work, building sites come out, factories come out. And there was this big, massive demonstration down to the Strand Road Barracks or somewhere. And it ended up in a confrontation up at Butcher's Gate. And the army charged down Fawn Street. We were fighting away, and we got round on my own street, Westland Street. There was the Saracens came up the Lecky Road, and everybody was standing there, you know. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, 2 nail bombs. They're one of the first nail bombs that had been thrown in Derry, you know, or some of the first. Nobody's used them. They just landed right in the middle of the soldiers. Well, I ran up the street and I stopped. And I was standing talking to this girl, and heard a couple of shots. And the next thing, somebody says, somebody's been shot, and everybody was saying, who was it? And people were running around. And the next thing, somebody came running over and says, Desi Beatty from Rosemount was shot dead. Well, the girl I was standing with just turned out it was his girlfriend. They were getting engaged the following Saturday. There was riots for about 2 weeks after that, 24 hours a day. The army claimed that Desi Beatty was a nail bomber, and Seamus Cusack was carrying a rifle. Well, I mean, everybody in Derry knew that wasn't true, you know, including myself. And there was these riots. We surrounded Essex. We had them sealed off for 2 weeks, almost steady. And there was all these. We used to do this thing. We used to say when the army released the internees, we'll release the troops from Essex. Well, that really applied then, you know, because they couldn't get out. They used to drop on supplies by helicopter, and it was like an afternoon picnic. There was about 2,000 people, and there was about maybe 1,500 sitting up in this field. And they were watching the other 500 rioting, and every now and again, people out of the 500 that were rioting would come up and sit down, and others would go down and take their place. And there was a continuous thing, 24 hours a day. The next one was in Net McGavigan. There was a bit of a riot on, and I was up throwing stones at the army, and I got hit with a gas canister, a rubber bullet in it. I think it was a gas canister. And I fell, and I was up at the front of the riot. It's my usual place anyway. And I fell, and I remember the brother-in-law and this girl picked me up and sort of helped me back, and the army was making a charge. When I got back down, it was this wee young girl, you know, she says to me, you know, oh, you were lucky there and all. And I says, geez, I nearly got caught. She says, oh, you're lucky it wasn't a real one, you know. And I says, I know you're talking. About an hour later, like the riot sort of continued and it died down a bit. But an hour later, there was a nail bomb was thrown at the army. There was a bang. And then about a minute after that, or 2 minutes after, there was 3 or 4 shots rang out from the army. And I was just standing around the corner, and I seen this body, more or less, swinging around the corner, you know, hitting the ground. Well, at the time, it didn't sort of strike. It was just some girl. I lifted her, well, along with some other people, took her into the house. Well, the house was packed, you know, everybody was coming in to see what was wrong, who was hitting, was she dead and all this. So I more or less fucked everybody out, you know. I just said right out. And it left the body and me in the kitchen. And I got down, like, and I looked at her, and it suddenly struck me, you know. It was the same girl that had helped me earlier on. I remember looking at her, you know, and she was lying, and the eyes were open. She had sort of prominent teeth, you know, and the lips sort of back like this. And I just looked at her, you know, fuck me, you know. Some wee girl, like 15, I think she was. People say IRA terrorists, murderers, and stuff like this here. But, like, what do you do when you see 15-year-old girls get shot dead? Or innocent men shot in the street? You have no choice. You've got to fight, you know. What we done was we said, well, we're going to stop the deaths in our area. We want them out. And in order to keep them out, we had to use the same forces they were using. We had to use guns. And we built up a free Derry area. We built up barricades, and we said the army aren't coming in. And we stopped them with any means that we had. If we could stop them with guns, we used guns. If we stopped them with the people coming out and sitting in the barricades, we did that. And the whole reason was to keep them out, because we saw what happened when they were in. When they were in, people died. Innocent people died. I was born in Derry. I was brought up in Derry. I went to school here. I've been here all my life. My grandfather was a member of the Irish Republican Army. My father was officer commandant of the IRA. As a child, I was pushed around in a pram with guns under the mattress, and our home was always used for secret meetings. I grew up with the IRA. You were never told anything about the Republican movement, what my father was doing, what all these strange men coming into the house was all about, you know. There were meetings going on in the house. As soon as the men would start arriving, you were put to you're put into another room. My mother would come into the other room because she wasn't allowed to know what was going on. And it wasn't as much that you were told, but there was something deep down in your gut there that said this is something to do with the IRA. My father's route was with the gun. Get the guns out, free Ireland, let the people decide. Which were exactly my attitudes up to a couple of years back. And it's actually the Provo line now. That they say that they should do the fighting and then let the people decide. But it's no good saying let the people decide when the people have nothing to decide about. I changed without knowing it, simply and solely by being in the company of people who did know what they wanted, who had the political alternative. This is Johnny White I'm talking about. And listening to Johnny, it was an education in its own, although I didn't even realise that at the time either. We'd be out there for a drink, you know. And Johnny would be talking away there about socialism and one thing and another. And those days I even looked at Johnny White purely and simply as a politician.
There is absolutely no mention of the number of pensioners in this area, or the number of young married couples who are forced to live on a measly standard of living. The whole issue of the economic conditions under which people live was never referred to. It has never been brought up by any of our liberal bourgeois politicians in any Westminster or Stormont Parliament. The struggle being waged at the present time is a struggle for basic democracy of the people. The people of this area have taken up that struggle. It's the people of this area who have taken upon themselves to fight against oppressive legislation in order that they may go forward in the struggle for complete emancipation. And no one, but nobody, and no party or organisation has the right to take away the will of the people and to dictate the terms under which the people will give up this struggle, or under which they will say, on behalf of the people, we will have enough and we will stop here.
When I was picked up and got internment, I had 10 months to really realise then what Johnny was talking about. And it was in long case that I realised just that he was spot on in everything he said, that this was the alternative, that the reason I was interned, the same as a lot of other fellas, was simply because of our politics.
The Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, Mr. Whitelaw, toured Londonderry. It was Mr. Whitelaw's first visit to the city since his appointment by Mr. Heath. And while walking through a shopping district near Londonderry's no-go area, Mr. Whitelaw met Catholic housewives.
Nice to see you. How do you do? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Come up the trees on the
Well, I would love to. You'll have to come up. Well, you'll just have to make sure I can. Very likely. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Well, I'd like very much to do that. And you tell some of these people that you hear that. Just, I would love to come there.
Everybody's welcome in the Creggan.
Well, I would love to come there. You just say that. That's very good.
Of course, at the moment you couldn't go unless you had a strong military force to take you in there.
Well, I would have to see. But obviously, I have to have regard to the current position as it stands. But I very much hope that people there, all of them will see, that they have nothing to fear.
My immediate reaction after coming out of Long Cash and seeing all the men that we have now, like where were they before internment? If I was stopped at a roadblock there, some of these young lads, they didn't know me. I was thinking in my own mind, who in the name of Christ do they think they are? Where I had absolutely no right to say this. As it stands now, I have got greatest respect for them same fellas.
They talk about it here, they talk about it there, they talk of revolution everywhere. So working class unite and come and join the fight. It's a fight for a socialist republic now. You've heard of Fianna Fáil from Cork to Donegal. They still claim to be Republican, but sure there is no doubt that they have sold us out. Let's fight for a socialist republic now. You workers must unite, the capitalists we must fight. Exploitation we must end. So stand by your demands, the power's in your hands. Let's fight for a socialist republic now. They talk of liberty, Ireland one and Ireland free. That day, we will take down the tricolour. So stand together now and raise our starry blow. It's the flag of the Socialist Republic now. So listen to what I say. Come join the IRA. Let's fight for the ideals of Connolly. Oh, let us agitate, organize and wreck the state. Let's fight for a socialist republic now.
In Northern Ireland, American evangelist Dr. Billy Graham has visited bombed areas, while in Washington, Senator Edward Kennedy discussed the Ulster conflict with our correspondent.
I would think that the United States could offer its good offices.
And a realization that you have a pluralistic society, that you must live together.
There are firings across the border now in the north.
That there's a false religiosity.
So this is an international dispute.
And I think this is part of the problem.
That as a friend, I would hope that there would be some role that the United States could play to end the violence.
There's a provisional wing of the IRA, and there's the official wing. The provisional policy seems to be that they think they're going to bomb and shoot and blow practically British imperialism out of this country, shoot the British army out and all the rest of it. We don't believe this is possible. We think you've got to use politics and you've got to involve the masses of people. The official's policy on violence, as you might say, would be defence and retaliation. That would mean defence of the area, and so far as that if the British army is trying to come in, the official IRA would get themselves involved, trying to get the people on the streets to stop them. But if the army started shooting, something like this, the people there obviously wouldn't stay in the streets. So what would happen would be the IRA would then have to involve themselves in a gun battle with the British army in an effort to keep them out. The policy of retaliation is that if the British army, as they do quite often, shoot somebody innocent in the streets, then the IRA would say, well, we'll retaliate for this. They do this by either attacking foot patrols in the street or an army post like this one back here could be a target. So this could be done by sniper attack on the post or bombs. The IRA would do this in retaliation. The reason for retaliation, most people might sound like a sort of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Well, this isn't the facts of the case. What it is simple that if you're going to say to people, we'll defend and we'll help, then you've got to prove yourself as a viable organisation to do this. And the way you do this is when a civilian's shot, you in turn shoot a soldier. The reasons again, and all reason for this is that you obviously if somebody murders somebody, you want to bring them to justice. Now when the British Army murder people, it's been tried before, bringing them through the normal sort of courses of law and order. You had Bloody Sunday, the Woodbury Tribunal, you had various cases where soldiers were brought up for murder and they got away with it. It was open verdicts and things like this were recorded. So, I mean, if the system is not going to bring murderers to justice, then the IRA will bring them to justice. The people will in their own way. And the only way they have, if we haven't access to courts, access to jails and things like this, then the IRA retaliate themselves. And the only way they can do this is by the bomb or bullet. And that does the policy. I mean, people will retaliate. The people will defend themselves and retaliate in the only way they can. I mean, that's the way it goes.
I believe in the power of evil. I believe there is a devil. I believe he's stirring people up to get one group to hate another and to fight against another and shoot another. And this can only be combated by another spiritual force, and that must be the force of God. And that can only be let loose when people show concern and prayer.
In other Northern Ireland news, The Londonderry Chamber of Commerce announced plans for the acceleration of a city-wide industrial expansion program. Chamber President Mr. Frank Gukian said that recent events and impressions created by the mass media may well have hidden the true picture of a city which is determined to succeed in its efforts to create a fully employed, viable community. The expansion plan met with criticism from militant labor leaders who cited poor working conditions, low wage scales, and seasonal layoffs in the city's existing factories. Meanwhile, provincial unemployment percentages increased to 8.7%, more than 1 point higher than last month's total. In Londonderry, some officials estimate that as many as 3 out of 4 men in the city's no-go district are receiving unemployment benefit.
Where men all gather to sign their autograph and to stand and have a natter. But when the doorman comes, he rounds them up like cattle, and if you're not damn quick, you'll be murdered in the battle. Should I stay in Belfast town or join in emigration? Should my talent not be used for to build a better nation? I think of all my friends and the country I was born in. Parents' hopes and children's dreams, sure they fade away our morning. I sign on in box 13 with a man in high positions, a steeplejack called Joe and some Labour politicians. The clerk, he is quite smart, they say there is none wiser. Says he, night can you swim, you're down as a deep-sea diver. Should I stay in Belfast town or join in emigration? Should my talent not be used for to build a better nation? I think of all me friends and the country I was born in. Parents' hopes and children's dreams, sure they fade away our morning. They give me 60 bob to be spent on pure enjoyment. They call the police in when I dared ask for employment. A man says to me, son, now try not to be nervous. They'll give me a gold watch for me years of faithful service. Should I stay in Belfast town or join in emigration? Should my talent not be used for to build a better nation? I think of all me friends and the country I was born in. Parents' hopes and children's dreams, sure they fade away our morning. You look into their face, you'll see their hearts are breaking. They've worked most of their life, aye, and now they are forsaken. To those who have control, beware now when I warn you. You'd better give us jobs or we'll rise and take them from you. Should I stay in Belfast town or join in emigration? Should my talent not be used for to build a better nation? I think of all me friends, the country I was born in. Parents' hopes and children's dreams, sure they fade away our morning.
I'm a revolutionary. I suppose it's because it's basically a way of life in the Bogside. I've always been the sort of person who, if there was somebody who was the underdog, I always liked to help him. And I became involved on October the 5th in the first demonstration in Derry. I got battened around the head with the police, saw my friends getting battened, saw my area getting invaded by the cops. And I adopted a policy of doing something about it. I didn't know exactly what or how or anything else. So became involved in the local elections that were coming up, and I went for the underdog again, which happened to be a socialist candidate. At that time I had no particular politics. Through that election I became secretary of a young socialist in Derry and got involved with socialism, with politics in the area, began to know what was going on, began to realise what the system was all about. I used to argue with people. If they put up a better argument than me, defeated me, I used to go away, get another argument and come back. And if defeated them that time, I knew my argument was right. I never read any socialist books. I never read Lenin, Marx, Trotsky, or even Connolly for that matter, you know. The point is that in society like Northern Ireland, we've have Special Powers Act operating. And under the Special Powers Act, you're not allowed to do certain things. You're not allowed to, like if you're a member of Sinn Féin, it's the political wing of the IRA, you're not allowed to go down to Guildhall Square and stand up and say, well, I'm a member of Sinn Féin, this is my political beliefs. Because if you do, you're interned or lifted.
We don't want a repeat of last January's events, do we?
No, sir. But we've got to break every barricade before the IRA obtains better weaponry. You're aware that Ulster is pregnant with no-go districts. In Londonderry, the barricades are here, 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 and finally here. The toughest and most suicidal diehard roam these streets. By 0400, our tanks will have crossed the bridge and the assault will be launched from here. Our supplies will be stationed 1,500 yards from that area.
If the British Army or any other force hits the people, tries to put them down, try to come and raid their houses, then the IRA has no alternative, in my belief, but to defend them by whatever means possible.
Hello.
Hello, Dublin. This is Derry. Listen, that break here we're on a bit before, you know. Well, we need it as soon as possible. How long do you reckon it'll be, you know?
Thank God you lads are finally going to kill those fucking tanks. But listen, I got all the stuff here. You can have your anti-tank rocket in the best part of a day.
Okay, that's dead on. Well, listen, we'll send somebody down, you know, and he'll call in, see and collect it, bring it back up. Okay?
Aye, that's fine.
All the best, then.
Black flag was hoisted, the cruel deed was over, gone was the man who loved our land so well. There was many a sad heart in Dublin that morning when they murdered James Connolly, the Irish
Won't your armor be exposed to ambush here?
They can't stop tanks.
Isn't this road dangerously close to the border?
I've decided on another road where I'll join the unit. As soon as my command car is ready, gentlemen, it'll make the trip to Ulster alone. It's a well-armored Humber Pig, recently reacquired from a civilian dealer. Of course, I'm having it spruced up a bit.
As I was climbing into bed, my poor old granny sighed. She looked out of the window, the army had arrived. The house was soon surrounded, they smashed the front door in. I knew they'd come to take away the lid of my granny's bin. And it was scream, bang, shout, raise an apple bin. But God spread a warning when the army they come in. A soldier come right up the stairs, a rifle in his hand. She kicked him with her button boots and along the hall she ran. Well, up and stepped another one, some medals for to win. But all he got right up the go with the lid of my granny bin. And it was scream, bang, shout, raise an apple bin. But God spread a warning when the army they come in. She opened up the window and she clambered down the spout, and soon her bin was rattling for to call the neighbours out. She then pulled out her whistle, she blew away like hell, and soon we heard the echo as the neighbours blew as well. And it was scream, bang, shout, raise an apple din. We've got to spread a warning when the army they come in. The music rose like thunder as the bins and whistles played. The army soon retreated and knew they'd overstayed. It wasn't made of silver, it was only made of tin. But once again it saved the street, the lid of my granny's bin. And it was scream, bang, shout, raise an apple bin. Well, gotta spread a warning when the army they come in. Not bad at all.
Anti-tank rocket. Our first to hit against the fucking BA.
How good is it?
Well, it isn't exactly a H-bomb, but it'll kill a tank at the range of a mile.
Catholics in Londonderry protested against the official IRA's execution of a British Army soldier who was a resident of the area and home on leave.
This murder was committed in our area, and it is to our shame that it took place. It was done in our name, as if it were done for us. We protest about it in the strongest possible words. I know that the people of the Bogside and the Creggan estate are aghast. Last night, the women showed their strength. They showed what the people of the Creggan estate and the Bogside think. We want them to continue showing that so that this violence will cease once and for all, and that peace and justice may come.
Kusi Reich, Prad, Prad, Lia Macht.
Right, just pay attention. This is a Thompson submachine gun. Everybody, in my opinion, has got his own ideas of his ideal weapon. I prefer the big T myself. It's the only weapon that I pick up and say, by Jesus, I've got a rod in my hand. She seemed to fit my hand perfectly from the first day I picked her up. Right. Take us through the weapon. Look at the muzzle. 4-side blade. Barrel. Air cooling fins, of which there are 28. Your cock and handle with a fixed battle sight. Your cock and handle way. Your cock and handle recess. Now, there's a lot of things I would say to Tommy about the big T. You know that at a distance of 600 or 700, 800 yards, you cut blazes out of the BA, which is a lot of nonsense, but I'm not going to say that to Tommy. You know, I'll defend the big T no matter the hell what he wants to throw against it, let it be a jet. You know, people might know this, you know, but big T's can shoot down a jet at 1,000 feet in the air. The order is to take them off, right? Next, you turn the weapon under your arm. Your release button. Just ease her forward. Never force her. When you take her a certain distance, she'll stop. Just squeeze on your trigger. Take your pistol grouping off. Cup your hand over the back. Now, this is your main recoil spring. The reason that you cup your hand over here is because when she's released, if she springs forward, your hand's cupped to stop her, right? Bring your breech block back. Just tip her over. Bring your cock and handle forward. Turn over again. Now, I'll name these parts for you. I'm going to name the parts for you. Look at your magazine, your butt, your pistol grouping, your main recoil spring, buffer, buffer pilot, and flange. Right? Your breech block. If you look towards the centre, you'll see the firing pin protruding through it. Right? You get your extractor and your ejector. Right, you, what's that?
4-side blade.
You, what's this?
Forward puzzle grub.
You, what's this?
Cock and handle.
Do you remember the day we went out in the first Civil Rights March? We walked over the bridge and then we all assembled over at the old railway station in the waterside.
That's right. Mm.
And we thought there were only going to be a few hundred people there.
Oh, I was amazed when I seen so many people.
There were 20,000.
Amazed.
Yeah. Everybody went out. Do you remember we saw all the doctors, our doctor, all the priests out of the cathedral parish? I remember Fian Molloy walked in front of us.
Yes, and Father McLaughlin was there too.
Yeah. And all the students out of Queen's.
I couldn't get over the young people. They were great, so they were.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
That's right. It was great. And we came to the bridge. I remember I felt this feeling that I was free for the first time for 50 years. We always felt we were held down.
We never really we never really went out and showed our feelings, did we?
No, well, we didn't have a chance.
No.
Because we always felt that, we were being kept down. We didn't know why. So we walked over that day, and I remember when we got to the middle of the bridge, we had to sit down because the RUC were at the far side.
That's right.
And they wouldn't allow us to cross the bridge, cross through the gates, up Carlisle Road.
No, you would never cross through
No, because
those
we were going
gates.
through the walls. Do you remember we were going through over the old walls?
Yes.
And that was reserved for the Orange men. Do you remember?
That's right. You
we
never would
often
go through
tried.
those gates.
So,
imagine in your own town.
If the lads up north can kill just one tank with this wee rocket, it'll be a hell of a victory. It'll put the fear of God into those bloody British heathens.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you going to carry it?
I'm going to have the son bitch welded underneath my car.
There are no flowers blooming, but the shamrock still growing, or the grave of James Connolly, the Irish Many years have gone by since the Irish rebellion, when the guns of Britannia they loudly did speak. And the bold IRA, they stood shoulder to shoulder.
We didn't know the boys then, Catherine, you remember? But, remember when we used to be going to our work in the mornings?
Well, it was a cold winter mornings.
And they were all sleeping in these old cars. I thought a pity of them.
Oh, we had so much room.
That's what it bothered my conscience.
Yeah.
When I thought in all the room we had and they could have been sharing them, So, you remember the night Joe came?
We were in bed. Yeah, that's right. And when he came up the stairs, he put on the light. And I called out to him. I remember he opened our bedroom door and he said, "What room do I go into?" And I said, we were all amazed. And he said, "What room do you sleep in?" And I called it the room at the end of the corridor. And I called, "Put out the light quick," because we were afraid the neighbours would see him.
That's right.
Well, we didn't. We thought the IRA were a terrible crowd then. We didn't know
you
them.
heard so much talk about them.
Well, they're
like,
just ordinary fellas like
That's
anybody
right.
else, aren't they?
First time I joined the Irish Republican Army, there was an initiation ceremony. This isn't done anymore. But it was to prove if the men was responsible that were coming into the movement, if they could obey orders, one thing or another. What I had to get through was there's a very close friend of mine, and there were 5 of us, including him, went over the border to Donegal. When we got down there, I had been told that there'd been a court-martial. We were taken to Donegal, and we get out of the car, the 5 of us walks up this hill. 2 of them grabbed me mate, throws him against this hedge, pushes a .45 Webley revolver into my hand, and he said, "This man has been court-martialed, he's been found guilty, he's to be executed, you're to carry out the order." I cocked the Webley, fired 4 rounds. The gun was empty. But it proved to them that I was willing to obey orders, that I was willing to kill even my best mate. And the way I look on the thing is that if it has to be done, then it has to be done. Somebody has to do it.
Squires, the movement checked you out. You're the perfect cover on this job.
Warned of sectarian conflict. Meanwhile, a member of the official IRA, killed during rioting in the north, will be buried this afternoon in the Republic of Ireland with an IRA Guard of Honour. In other Ulster news, the unemployment rate.
Let us pray for our brother to the Lord Jesus Christ, who told us, I am the resurrection and the life. The man who believes in me, even if he dies, will never suffer eternal death. Almighty God has called Tobias, our brother, from this life to himself. We return his body to the end from which it was made. Our Father, who art in heaven,
give us this day our daily our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Dear Mary, for the grace of the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost.
As it was, and is, and ever shall be, world at the end. Amen.
Headquarters staff, official IRA, Northern Command, Provisional IRA, Friends of Tobias Molloy, the Derry Command, official IRA.
Once again, we are assembled here in silence to bury one of our dead. It has become a very common thing for Irishmen to assemble around the graves of Irish citizens murdered by the forces of British imperialism. And here we have now another Republican who was killed, as it would seem, ignominiously by a rubber bullet. Now remember, rubber bullets are supposed to be not lethal. They're supposed to be for scaring away the youngsters throwing stones. But here we had a British soldier who shot at point-blank range an Irish citizen, a member of the official Irish Republican Army. And on behalf of the Army Council, the Northern Command, and in particular, the Derry Command of the official IRA, I wish to offer my condolences to the relatives of Thomas Molloy.
You won't care about it? Box Mike, Mike. You see the Enfield. One full mag, one clip, one grenade. You see the Enfield. One clip, one full mag, one grenade. When you won't care about it.
you also know there's no chicken feed. I want every man to be very careful. I want the cover men to be in position long before the time. I want your heads down and your eyes open. You all know what to do, all right?
Dear people, I wonder what would our Lord say if he came amongst us as a man today. What would he say about the destruction in our city? What would he say about the recent slaughters going on in different parts? My dear people, our Lord would condemn those who have continued this violence. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that provoke offenses, and all who are evil, and throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and grinding of teeth. Only a few men actually nailed our Lord to the cross, but there were the bystanders who approved. Now, all of you could examine yourselves and see whether you have been supporting violence, so that by condonation you are responsible. Third day he rose from the dead, as the Scriptures had foretold. He ascended to heaven, where he is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. I believe in the Holy Spirit.
It was back in 1960. There was a fella killed here during a training session. A revolver went off accidentally. And strange the way history repeats itself. The young lad was killed just a few months ago, just the exact same way. During a training session, a revolver went off accidentally. I personally don't think about death, about dying. It's something that you just have to take for granted in this sort of a game. If you think about death, you automatically become slow in your reactions when you have to do something. When you're waiting, the waiting's the worst part. When you're waiting to go out to do a particular thing. So if you do start thinking about getting injured or even killed, you immediately have to try and put it out of your head. You must be with it 100%. If you don't, you're going to make a balls of. It could lead to you getting badly injured, it could lead to you getting someone else injured, it could lead to you getting killed. But there's always the consolation, more or less, of knowing that they say that the one that kills you, you'll never hear it coming. Catholic Church, they never backed any struggle of the people. You can take a man's life just by making him accept injustice that has been perpetrated upon him by the state. The Catholic Church was willing to do this. To be a socialist does not necessarily mean that you have to give up religion. The teachings of Jesus Christ is through socialism. You know, do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. In my personal opinion, you don't get any more of a socialist statement than that.
Yeah, this is Squires. Well, it's going okay so far. Won't make it before night. Okay, I'll find it. Bye.
Not come in yet? No, it hasn't come in yet. It's on the way on now, but tell you what, I'll let you know when it comes in. Where'll you be?
I've got a training class now after, but I'm not interfere with it, okay?
Well, I'll see you when it's over, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You heading up this way?
Yeah.
No, Pedro. You get on up?
Whenever you're given the order to drop, you shall drop, because whenever that order is given, if it's because there is an enemy at the front, whenever you do drop, you shall fall into a sniping position. The two rear men will cover the rear, two front men will cover the front, both right and left hand sides also, and observe. Whenever you're asked to move out, you shall move out on the double. I don't want to see anybody hesitating at all whatsoever, right? Move out. Number 3, keep your rifle at the high point. Any obstacles that's in your road, you will not bypass them. You'll step over them, jump over them, or fall under them. Drop! Number 4, if I have to tell you to spread yourself out again, I'll spread you out the right road. What sort of a lying position is that? Get yourself right around there. Get into that position in future and stay in it. Right? Move out! Drop! Come on, number 4, you should have been dropped! If you're right-handed, you'll come to the right-hand side of the tree, not the left. Get to the right! Number 3, cover your rear end! What are you doing out in the open? Get into your fucking behind the tree there! Move out! Come on, move it! Number 3, you better smarten yourself up. You're supposed to be covering your front. Cover it! You should have been in that position the minute you were told to drop. Right, number 1. Come on, move it. Come on, man, move it faster. Number 2. Take up a position whenever you get to the bottom, and you shall observe your front and sides. Come on, 2. Number 3. Come on, man, move it. You'll have to get your rifle cut up when you move. Number 4. Come on, get your rifle up when you're back and move. Come on.
We are the army of the people, and as such we must defend the people, the same way as the people defend us. Without the people, we can't exist. We wouldn't be able to hold on to our big teas or sweet damn all else.
A delegation of women from Londonderry's no-go district have met with Mr. Whitelaw. The women, leaders of a Bogside and Creggan peace committee, said that they represented the majority of people in the IRA's stronghold.
I was more than
And an honest
surprised
man.
that he was so enlightened about the problems in Derry.
What did you expect?
He is a gentleman.
Well, he's a gentleman, and believe you me, it's the first time I met Mr. Whitelaw. I hope it isn't the last, and I was a bit scared, believe you me.
What do you think the IRA's reaction to your coming to see Mr. Whitelaw is?
I couldn't
We
tell
don't
you.
know till we go home. Does it concern you that they might be angry or might
They
take
might.
sanctions against
They
you?
might. We might be charged. We might be
Don't think the IRA. You're not going to be deterred, obviously, no matter what.
The IRA. We're not scared of the IRA.
Our whole job is to be able to bring the gun and politics together, to create a revolutionary movement, and by doing so to create a revolutionary situation where we're not just fighting for the tricolour over the Guildhall.
Now Jack Lynch came down from Dublin and he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the border and he marched them down again. As such an armoured column, lads, the like was never seen. 500 mounted bicycles all wearing of the green. Let 'em go, let 'em tarry, sink or let 'em swim. He doesn't give a damn for us or we a damn for him. He sits on his horse in Dublin and I hope he does enjoy. Stand out our country for he's England's little boy.
Relax, squires. The only thing they'll ask you for is your passport.
No, you see you in your big tea. I mean, she's not all she's cracked up to be. What good is she against the flag fest and the PA?
But look, you must take into consideration the reasons that the big tea was made. The three main reasons for it are street fighting, house cleaners, and cover fire. For those reasons, there's not another weapon in this town that can match the
Listen,
big
I'm not
tea.
talking about the other weapon on the town that can match the big tea. I'm talking about an effective weapon on the town to stop a British army coming
That's
in.
an
The big
effective
tea's not
weapon.
worth a fuck.
That is. It's the only weapon that they'll run for cover from.
Well, that.
You've seen it
What,
on
are
the
they afraid of the noise
TV.
or
You've
something?
seen it happening in Belfast where they're standing there throwing everything at the BA. They just stood there.
Yeah.
They stood there, corners, everything. Then out of the darkness, the big lady speaks.
Oh, Jesus, nugget.
What's the first thing happens? Some officer class starts shouting, "There's someone using a Thompson, there's somebody using a Thompson." Everybody dies for cover immediately.
Yeah, but I'll tell you when that's when they came in first, and the mythical weapon of the IRA was a big Thompson.
This was not when they came in first, Ty.
That was.
This was in the past 9 months.
So they were on the TV themselves, the British Army, standing with a Thompson, and the boy saying, "What do you think of it?" He says, "It's a very cumbersome, heavy weapon. It's not very effective."
Yeah, but the point of the thing is they are not
when they held up the CO3 or an army leader and the SLR or something, then they say, "No, there's a weapon."
Yeah, but this is all very famous. You're taking them out of context. You're taking out of context what we're talking about the values of the weapon.
I'm talking, aye, no, I'm not. I'm
You
saying
were
the
mentioning
value,
it
the
before.
value of
You
a
were-
weapon in Derry for stopping the British Army coming in. And
you
I
were
don't think
talking
a big,
before.
I don't think a big T's any value for stopping the British Army.
You were talking before about a grease gun, for instance. The statistics for the grease gun, or she's probably named the M1 machine gun.
M45.
M1.
M45.
M1.
Well, it's marked on it, M45.
That's her caliber. What I tell you, our rate of fire is 300 point something rounds per minute. The big T is 600 point something rounds per minute.
No, I don't agree.
Now, you take it another way. The grease gun is fully automatic, right?
Oh, well, I mean, okay, so there's refinements on the Thompson.
Northern Ireland was shattered by violence as more than 20 bombs exploded in Belfast and Londonderry in a 2-hour period. It was one of the worst days of terrorist activity since the Troubles began in 1969, and at least 11 people are reported dead and more than 130 others injured. The Provisional wing of the IRA has admitted responsibility for the bombs, many of which, authorities say, went off without adequate warning. Warehouses, a car dealer, crowded shopping districts and a bus station were among the targets and were left in either blazing infernos or masses of rubble. The devastation provoked strong and outspoken response from loyalist leaders. They demanded that the government direct security forces to beat bombers and gunmen into the ground while smashing IRA no-go areas throughout Northern Ireland.
Yeah, well, if the British Army do move in here, you know, there's going to be a lot expected of these people.
I know that.
And the provos, if they start opening up, you cannot expect the people to do it in the streets, Tommy.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
Don't preach that. They got up in the other day, you know, in the sermon, they were saying to the people, he was very nervous and all this, but they kept saying that something like that. We all know that this thing is going to happen. He didn't say exactly what it was, you know. He was saying that there'll be some serious events in Derry over the next couple of weeks, and that there's old people here and nervous people, and all those who aren't old or aren't nervous, they help those that are, and they be prepared to meet their God and all this. But, you know, he was obviously talking about an invasion in the army.
I am quite clear that I am not going to take purely military action which is going to cause substantial casualties, in my judgment, to innocent women and children.
I don't know, I can see a hell of a lot of people dead in this country very shortly, you know.
Yeah, and even this town being good. You know, Belfast has gone through it. Derry has yet to get through it, really.
Well, Derry had its bloody Sunday and all that, but they hadn't really concentrated all the time. It all happened in sort of periods, you know, like 2-hour periods, and then a peace then, or relative peace for so long after, and then another big thing. But
the people are battle weary, Tommy.
Oh, people are battle weary. I mean, let's face it, every day and every night, like, it's go shooting.
And the unfortunate thing about it is that this was all going on, it's achieving absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
We interrupt this program to bring you a news bulletin. We've just heard that Mr. Whitelaw has announced heavy troop movements in various parts of Northern Ireland. The object, the statement from Belfast says, is to enable the security forces to move freely throughout all areas and so to protect the whole community. Meanwhile, our correspondent in Londonderry reports that the army has placed a ring of steel around the city. He says armoured cars seem ready for what looks like a move against the bases from which units of the illegal IRA currently operate. Our correspondent says that rumours have circulated the city for almost a week. Some say that the IRA plans to hit troops with massive new firepower, others that all of the barricades have been mined, and still others that
listen,
leading IRA...
the yellow Cortina's just gone through. You lads might want to check him.
Just before the dramatic announcement from
See ya.
Belfast, it was learned that military aircraft are landing stockpiles of supplies and equipment, and an assault ship is stationed off the Northern Ireland coast. It's thought that the ship may be used as an army communications headquarters. In addition, patrols and roadblocks throughout Northern Ireland have been increased. It was also learned in Londonderry that additional armoured cars are on the way to the city and may be used as reinforcements for a barricade smashing operation.
It's like Peter says, Johnny's a command, and if he says we don't fight, we don't fight. Get a word to Tommy.
here. Okay, hold it. Get out of the car, please.
Oh, what is this?
Get out of the car, please.
What's going on here?
Your passport, please. What are you doing here, Mr. Squires? You're a long way from California.
Just doing a bit of driving, seeing the sights, that's all.
Right. Now face the car, put your hands on the roof and your legs apart. Okay, open the boot.
The what?
The boot. The boot.
This is 3. We're at junction 13 and holding. 3. Proceed to London Derry, African Barracks. Control clear. Wilco control. 3 clear. 1. Bench Sunray.
1 Wilco. Wait out. Sir, control on the radio for you. All right. This man can go.
What's out there, Frank? Cool. Like her, she always tells me she doesn't drink. The other night in my roadhouse, we're sitting down there, you know, she got half stewed. She says, I'll crawl out. And I says, no, I wouldn't let you do a thing like that. You can hang on to my leg and I'll drag you out. No, I didn't get one nearly there. Yeah. How you doing?
Good to see you, sir.
What, you get through all right?
Yeah?
You get it on, right?
It was a bit dicey.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Fucking, as long as you got it on, it's not that fucking... Well, you only doing hard suppers?
Well...
But still, I don't know whether they'll gain anything by it all. They may, and they may not. I don't think it'll be in our lifetime.
Do you think no?
I don't think so. I think the next generation.
I do think it'll be
Do
in
you?
our lifetime.
Or maybe in yours, not in mine.
Oh,
I'm too old for that now.
For God's sake, I think it'll be in our lifetime.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I don't know. However, they're so nice fellas. You mean you can understand their feelings about workers who are exploited in this town. I mean, look at us, the way we work so hard and all we earn.
That's
You know,
right.
it's ridiculous. Like when we were young, we never thought in those things. Did we?
No, never. No,
I don't know why we were so stupid not to. Of course, we wouldn't have made anything of it.
I mean, you have a lot to be thankful for them. Like, you know, they're here and they're protecting us against the British Army.
Well, that's true.
I mean, if they weren't here, who was going to protect us? Who's going to protect us?
That's true. See, if the British Army come in here tonight now, they would come in and they would raid all the homes and take the men out.
No.
Operation larger than anyone had dared to predict, the army began its move into the Bogside and Creggan at about 4 o'clock this morning. It was some 6 hours after Mr. Whitelaw's dramatic announcement from Belfast. More than 1,500 troops in 300 armored vehicles cleared perimeter as well as internal barricades. The security forces quickly established key checkpoints throughout the former no-go area. The army called the operation Motorman and said that they encountered virtually no resistance other than a burst of submachine gun fire. They said that 5 gunmen were hit and 2 are believed dead. The security forces made it clear that their main objective was to restore law and order, and in their words, to get the IRA off people's backs. In an interview in Belfast, Mr. Whitelaw was asked why the IRA had been given so much advance warning that the troops were coming in.
That I had an overriding responsibility for the civilian population as a whole to make it perfectly clear to them that measures were going to be taken, that there would be considerable activity, and that it would be in their own interests to keep off the streets. I'm very glad to say that they responded very well to that. And I think that it was my duty to do everything I could to prevent civilian casualties.
In undisputed control of the area, the army later in the morning occupied schools, flats, and even the Bogside Inn, said to be the headquarters of the official IRA. In a major mopping-up operation, troops used handheld metal detectors to search houses claimed to have been used by the IRA. Car checks were intensified, and traffic on most streets was brought to a virtual standstill. Other army units checked pedestrians in an effort to seize bombs and small arms thought to have been distributed to IRA supporters in the former no-go district. The army believes that the IRA has hidden its major weapons in dumps outside the city, where they could be retrieved for use in future campaigns. Meanwhile, in Belfast, Protestant as well as Catholic barricades have been removed.
The Bogside man is the man for me. He's caught recruiting in the RUC. He was the Bogside man. Steady on your aim with a petrol bomb. Don't throw it, son, till the peelers come. I am the Bogside man. To Belfast town now the specials came. They looked at the sky and it started to rain. When the Britons, steady on your aim with a petrol bomb. Don't throw it, son, till the peelers come. I am the Bogside man.
If the British Army do come in here and take over the area, the lesson must be learned is a people's spirit has left them, and we must be held responsible to a certain extent.
Peter and his comrades learned some pretty hard lessons. Some of his buddies are gone now, but Peter stays on.
Specials came in brown and black. Your granny ran out and they all ran back. She married the Bogside man. Steady on your aim with a petrol bomb. Don't throw it, son, till the peelers come. I am the Bogside man.
Johnny White always said that it was impossible for a guerrilla army to tackle a superior force without popular support. He's now on the run.
The fact is that these are the realities which confront us as members of the working class, and will confront us as members of the working class, regardless of whether there's a barricade standing in Russell Street or whether there isn't a barricade standing in Russell Street.
We're all browned off with the midnight raids, every man to the barricades. We are the Bogside men. Steady on your aim with a petrol bomb. Don't throw it, son, till the peelers come. I am the Bogside man.
Tommy McCourt stayed on for a few days after the army came in, but hiding out in the Bogside was too dangerous. He's now somewhere in Southern Ireland.
If I do get hit, I'd like to at least have a minute or two to gather my thoughts before I die, you know. Maybe there's a God or something, and you might have a last-minute repentance or something like that there. I mean, I don't know.
What have I done? Said the fine woman. What have I done? This proud old woman did say, I have four green fields. tried to take it from me, but my sons they have sons as brave as were their fathers, and my poor green field will bloom once again.